Hey everybody. So I was thinking about all of you last night. I was listening to Jeff Buckley. Jeff. And I was going to just say Jeff, but then I thought maybe I should complete that sentence and tell you specifically who I mean. In this case, Buckley. Now I've gone on and on about it, needlessly. But I was listening to an old favorite that I haven't listened to as much over the past year or so, which is Last Goodbye. And over the months, I've picked up bootlegs of different Buckley songs here and there over the web, and I've got almost 200 recordings right now, and there's lots more to find, I'm sure. I'm not claiming any kind of special collection or anything like that, but I think I've got somewhere around 9, 10, 12 versions of Last Goodbye alone. And, on a lot of them, the version that I showed you how to play, actually one of the first tutorials I ever did, I used the slide on that opening sequence, which is what Jeff usually did. It was the album version, and it's what a lot of the live versions were as well, especially the electric ones, where he's sliding, 2, 5, 12, 7. Let's see. And then a lot of times he has a lot of vibrato in there that is kind of making it special. But then there's other times, particularly the recordings where it's Jeff on an acoustic guitar, where he plays something a little different. And so last night I was listening to that and thinking how much I enjoy the way it sounds. And so I sat down and figured out a couple of ways to play it, and I wanted to show you. I thought you might enjoy. And what I'll do is just play through them here a few different ways, and then if you want, let me know in the comments if you can't figure out from what I'm doing, and I'll do another video and actually show you, kind of break it down a little bit. But maybe you can tell well enough just from what I'm doing here to figure it out on your own. But here's what I was toying around with, is this. I forgot about that part. That last part again. Or another way to do that. A lot of times when he goes into that part, he'll walk it up. So, the new part, though, that I really wanted to point out, a secondary way that you could do this, that's incorporating using a bar down here on at least 4 strings. I suppose you could do all of them if you wanted, but I'm focusing on the top 4. You could also do the same thing here. It's not quite as full sounding. That's it. And that little part, you could also do or you could do it here. Let's see, what was I doing? The melody there is the most important part. So you could just play the strings open. So what we ended up with was kind of a... and so forth. So, let me know in the comments if you like that, and if you need me to break it down, I will. But, I was listening recently to a guitar player speak. It was Nuno Betancourt, actually, who was a big guy in the, early 90s, mid-90s, as far as a guitar player is concerned. And he said something that I've felt for a long time that I agree with, and I thought it was a really good point, which was that, these days, meaning the last decade, 2 decades, or more, we've had resources available to us in the form of guitar magazines that come out every month, books that are available, websites, all sorts of things that we can turn to, videos like this one, for people to show us or tell us how to play something. But it hasn't always been that way. And in fact, back in the earlier days, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, not so much in the 60s, but before, when it was mostly just radio, you didn't have cassette tapes, 8-tracks, certainly didn't have CDs and internet feeds. You didn't have the capacity to take the music and stop it, before records, and play it over and over again. All you had was the 2 minutes that you heard the song on the radio, once a day or 10 times a day or once a week, however often it was played. And you had to train your ear really well to hear what was being played and to mimic it. You had to learn really fast on the fly. And there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for sitting down, and of course now it's easier because we can pause it, we can rewind it, we can use digital means to slow it down and hear it played half speed, etc. But there's something to be said for each of us, and this is a lot of what I've done in the past that's made my ear better than some other people's, and certainly there's people way beyond me, but is to sit down and try to figure out, pick apart a tune on my own before I go and look at a book. And then the book helps me, because I'll figure out something, and it'll sound pretty decent. And maybe I'll know, it's about 80% there, but it could be better. Or maybe I think it sounds awesome. But then I'll go read what a book says to do, or what a magazine says to do, and I'll see another way to play it that'll sound maybe a little better. But the point is I figured out something on my own, and I learned more in that experience than I ever learned by looking at the book first. So I highly recommend that. I don't know for sure what Jeff is actually playing, whether it's something else altogether. But in taking 30 minutes last night to kind of sit down and pick a few of those melodies out, I learned much more than I ever would have learned by just turning to a book. So I recommend that you do that. And rather than me taking a lot of time to break that part down, maybe you could sit down and kind of watch what I did, listen to what Jeff is doing, if you have any of those bootlegs available to you. If not, go find them. They're on the web. They're free. And see what you can pick out. It's a good practice. Anyway, enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.